as an individual player, we mentioned him earlier, is Larry Gass.
Oh yeah.
You talk about somebody who's unguardable. That is Larry Gass.
Larry
And
reminds me of a skinnier version of Paul Pierce.
yes,
Welcome back to the Rec Center podcast, everybody. I'm Kenny Edwards, representing Oakland High School, representing the Wildcats, what I like to call the School of Champions. Man, we got a hell of a guest today. One of the all-time OAL greats. You guys are going to absolutely love this when you see him. It's one of the guys that's been highly requested. So without further ado, let's welcome out of McClymonds, Darrell Tucker. D Tuck, what's going on, man?
hey man, taking it day by day, one step at a time. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing, man. It's phenomenal to get our voices heard. I mean, you got to understand, this is over 20 years ago, so
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to finally, you know, speak about some of the experiences we had back then in the OAL. And like I told somebody before, man, I said, this is not an interview. This is a conversation that I'm having with brothers that I played with.
That's
So,
it.
this ain't an interview, man. This is a friend talking to a friend. But nonetheless, man, I'm honored to be a part of the show.
Man, absolutely. We honored to have you on, man. I'm thinking back, and it's crazy, like you said, over 20 years. It's like, man, you never think what you were doing at that time, 16, 17 years old, would have such an impact years and generations later. But dude, I mean, in the streets, I tell you what, the name D Tuck still rings a bell.
Man, it's the crazy part about it, is I didn't even really have any basketball goals at back then. And when you look, you're talking 15, 16 years old, man, I didn't find myself, or I didn't have any guidance, so to speak. Or what I mean by that, I was trying to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part about it is God was telling me, man, basketball is it. But I just didn't quite see it until certain things in my life happened. Obviously going to McClymonds and all that stuff. So then I started to see like a vision in the future, man. So, but you're right, man. At 16, 15 years old, man, I was just trying to have fun and and just do whatever comes to mind. Basketball wasn't really it. People don't know that about me, but there's a lot of things people don't know that I would like to explain. So,
Yeah, well,
but yeah, man, you're right.
let's back it up. Obviously, we're the Rec Center podcast. So, growing up, what Rec Center groomed you?
Well, a lot of people don't know, man, is I actually grew up in East Oakland. So, well, the early stages of my life, and funny thing is, the rec center, or the place where I played most of my indoor basketball, was the Rainbow Center.
Oh, okay,
And
that's where I grew up. Yeah,
and
yeah, that's where I grew up at
yeah,
Rainbow. Yeah,
so I
interesting.
played at Rainbow, but I did play for a park or an organization, or whatever you want to call it. I played for Sanborn.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so and then it was Coach Willie Hart, Michael Hart. Those guys. Uh, we played our games at the Rainbow Center. So that's what I wouldn't say the Rainbow Center kind of. I wouldn't say it groomed me. I would just probably say that that's where I played my first indoor basketball, was the Rainbow Center. But just that whole community off of there in East Oakland, those parks around there, all those little rec centers around there. But the actual, if you want to classify or or say when did I started playing some indoor ball, it would have been the Rainbow Center for sure.
Yeah, that's what's up. Shout out Rainbow. Um,
Yep.
so now, one thing we found out too is that a lot of guys started off at Oakland Tech and transferred. And Lolo is always talking about like, man, if everybody would have stayed and Keith Wheelwright gets eligible, they'll tell it how many state championships could come out of there. Talk about starting off at Tech, and then what led to your transfer to McClymonds.
Well, the crazy part about it is, we were always trying to. My mom was on Section 8, so we were always trying to. She was one of my mother was my mom and my father, so she played both roles in the household. So what we were trying to do, or what she was trying to accomplish, was to get me out of those bad neighborhoods. Now East Oakland at that time was pretty rough. So as we started navigating towards the west, uh, she found a nice spot around by the lake. And so naturally, the school to go to, according to our zip code, was Oakland Tech. And I remember driving by Oakland Tech, and I'm like, man, this is like a college, because Tech was like out of the OAL schools. It was
It's the
so
biggest.
it was the biggest. So then I was like, man, and at the time, I'm thinking to myself, if I go there, I'll be a small fish in the big pond.
Mm.
But naturally, I had to go there, and I walked to schools in walking distance. And then I remember Dave Manson. A lot of people don't probably know this, but I played I played at the Berkeley, at Yap, and I played with Dave Manson, and he was saying maybe Oakland Tech is, and I was kind of looking at him for guidance. And so then we went to Oakland Tech, and then I went there, and then it was a situation where I didn't know anybody. I still haven't found myself as an individual. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I was running around with people who write on walls and stuff like that, or taggers is what they call them.
Yeah.
And I remember, man, specifically, Darrell, he said, man, you either gonna play some basketball or you gonna run with these guys.
Mm.
So, and he told me this right in front of the gym at Oakland Tech. He says, make a decision. He says, you gonna play ball with me, we're gonna play some ball, or you're gonna roll with these guys. And then from that point on, I decided to play basketball. But it didn't pan out the way, that was my ninth grade year. It didn't pan out the way I planned it, because I obviously broke my arm and got hurt playing outside, at lunchtime. Everybody know about those
We all
lunchtime
got a lunchtime
okay.
not supposed to be out
Yeah,
here story.
yeah. So I broke my arm, and I didn't play. I had a compound fracture, had to have surgery, and George was the guy who tripped me up from behind, and I fell, and he actually rode with me in the ambulance to the hospital because he felt bad. So,
Goddamn
but
George.
yeah. So he felt bad. There's water under the bridge now, and I didn't even know that it was done purposely, but I didn't know that at the time. And then so I remember Hadari McGavick was like, because I walked up to him, I was like, man, I still want to play. And then he kind of gave me that. He wasn't making eye contact and said, just come out next year. Just kind of blew me off.
Wow.
And then, and at that time, Drell was like, you playing basketball, so I was kind of hurt by that, and then so I didn't. So from that point on, I'm like, you know what, some other stuff happened between then for me to get to McClymonds, and I'll talk about that too. But that's how I wound up at Tech, and then ultimately me leaving Tech was because of that situation.
So Adrell was also at Tech. I didn't know that.
He was at Tech too. Yeah, he was at Tech too. Yeah, he
Wow.
was there, and then and the guys that were there on that played for Tech was, you had Jamel Morrow,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm. Big
yeah, Big
Solomon.
Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I felt like I was out of my league being there. Like, I felt like these guys were like juniors and seniors, and they dunking the ball. They're bulkier than I was, so I'm just a skinny kid with a broken arm, and like I don't belong there. I still haven't found my way as a person.
Right.
I wasn't, and to be completely honest with you, academically, I wasn't a great student.
Yeah.
Uh, it wasn't that I was illiterate. It was just that I couldn't find my drive in anything in life
That
at that
makes
time,
sense. Yeah.
and Darrell was a big aspiration to help me find things I needed to find.
It's crazy because I'm like 3 years younger than you. I'm a couple years younger than
Yeah,
Lolo, and so some of the like I look up to you guys. Like if somebody was like, "Oh," I'd be
yeah,
like, "Man, Tug, E. Rise," be like Marshawn Ferris, Ray Holt. So it's
yeah.
crazy to hear you guys say, "Yeah, man, when I got to high school, I couldn't find my place." And so, who were some of the guys that you looked up to? Like, man, if I could be good like that.
You know what? I'll be honest. Because when I left Tech, I wasn't watching any high school basketball in the OEL. There was nobody that I was watching. My ninth grade year, the year that I got hurt, that I didn't play. I didn't start paying attention to my skills or basketball until I met Coach Mo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then this is a story that a lot of people don't know is I walked home every single day from Oakland Tech to my house. And then this car pulls up on the side of me, right on the side of Tech. I forgot that side street right there, but and then a guy honked the horn, and he's trying to talk to me through the passenger window, and I leaned in and I kind of looked, and it was a black cat with an orange M, and so then
That
and
same
I'm like, who
black
this cat, man?
hat.
Yeah, so I'm like. And Coach Mo, he was a man of very few words. He was like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Well, hey,
That's
what's up,
Mo.
Coach?"
That's Mo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he says, "Hop in." Yeah, hop in the car. So I hop in the car, and then I remember this like it was yesterday. He took me to McClymonds, and then he put these cones out uh, in the gym, and he told me, he says, "Okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to dribble the ball between the cones and finish the shot." So I went between the cones, and I'm jumping from damn near the free throw line, dunking the ball. And then I just kept doing that back and forth. And then he had his hands folded at the other end of the court watching me do this. And then I was one of those guys, you told me to do something, I'll just keep doing it until you tell me to stop. I was trying to soak, I was a sponge. And then he stopped me and he says, "Wait here for a minute." And so then I waited. And he came back with Al Claiborne, who's like 6'10",
Right.
and he was, his presence was really known, and he told me to do the same thing the first time in front of Al Claiborne, say Claiborne can see it, and then Claiborne actually stopped me after like the second time doing it. He said, "You know what you are?" And I said, "No." You gotta understand, at the time I'm 14, 15 years old, so and he says, "You are a diamond in the rough."
Wow.
And I never understood that term. So, but to answer your question, is who did I look up to? Because now I'm exposed to high school basketball. I went in for a practice, and Will Levy can attest to this. It was me and Adrell. So now I get to finally see the McClymonds team practice. I'm just a young buck, and I got invited to the practice because of the display that I put on for Claiborne and Coach Mo. And then I seen Will Levy, and I was like, man, that dude right there is, because you got to understand, at this point in time, I'm like, man, I'm feeling good about myself. I just impressed the coach, and I impressed the athletic director with something. And then I said, if they're impressed with me, then they got to be thrilled with that guy.
Head over
Because
heels,
I'm like,
right?
when I went to that practice, I immediately felt this small because some of the things that they were doing, somebody had to remind me and say, "Hey, those are juniors and seniors, Darrell. You didn't even play your freshman year."
Right.
To try to make me feel good about myself, because I felt, when I seen Will Levy, I felt out of my league. Period.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't belong, and I need to really, find some type of guidance or someone to teach me how to play this game better if I want to be at that level. So Will Levy was that guy
Mm-hmm.
at McClymonds, and there were guys prior to that. As I started to get to know the game, you look at guys like Zarek Payton,
Oh yeah,
his
ZP.
talents.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, look at ZP, and then Joe Barker, from St. Joe's,
Yeah, yeah,
Big Joe Barker, uh, a lot of guys. Because you look at naturally a big guy like me, you look at big guys.
right.
Big Alexander from Balboa
Yeah,
was a big
Marquette.
boy.
Yeah,
Marquette, big Marquette, yeah. A lot. I mean, the list goes on, man. And then, but Will Levy was that guy.
yeah. It's funny because so Coach Boozy is a real good family friend. He went to high school with
Yeah,
my mom and dad at McClymonds.
yeah,
And I remember that time period you talking about because I remember he would come to the house and him and my dad played dominoes all through the night and he Ken, we got this young boy coming over from Tech.
yep.
And
Sound
you
like,
know, me and Pops
yep.
was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Leave, you know, because my dad and Levy's dad are best friends. So I'm knowing all the
Wow.
Mac
Yeah,
culture, all the inside, what's going on.
yeah,
He said, yeah, he's about 6'7". He's 6'7", Ken. We gonna put him with Levy. We gonna run it. And so, man, Pops was like, oh, I'm gonna check y'all out. Man, when I went to y'all, I saw y'all play. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
6'7", 6'8". They ain't gonna lose to
yeah,
nobody, man. So it's funny.
yeah.
I remember that time frame of you transferring, man, and dude, that was an amazing team. Okay, so you get to McClymonds, dude. Right off the
Mhm.
bat, you guys won the OAL your sophomore year, right?
We did.
Yeah,
Uh, we won the OAL my sophomore year, and actually, yeah, the 3 years I was there, we won 2 of the 3 years. But when I first got to McClymonds, we did. We we won it. I was you talking about one of the most nervous days of my to this day. You know, I didn't play in front of 50,000 people all overseas. I worked out for 3 or 4 NBA teams, and you want to talk about the most nervous time for me as a basketball player. It was that first game and practice for McClymonds.
yeah,
Period.
yeah.
I mean, you know,
Now who's on that
trying to
team?
find myself.
Yeah, who's on that team? Creek
Yeah,
is there. Is was that like York
that was.
and Malcolm Lewis? Is
We had
that
Will. Yeah, we had Will. We had Malcolm Lewis, Rasan York,
yeah?
uh, and then Doug Gutierrez.
Doug
He
Gutierrez, he
came.
transferred. Yeah.
Yep, we had Zyron for a little bit, and then we had Eric Culberson
Shout out
played
Eco.
with us. Eco, yeah,
Shout out
Eco,
Eco.
and me and a Drill was on that team too, but Drill didn't play really. He didn't really. His maturation came later. Uh, yeah, and it was, yeah. So that first practice. I was nervous, man, and primarily because I knew I had to go against a guy that I looked up to, who I knew wasn't going to take it easy on
No,
me,
hell
and
no, not you.
who was known for. Listen, Will Levy, every practice would catch somebody with an elbow. You're gonna get it. Ready? It didn't matter. You're going to get an elbow, and so you just had to figure out how to play through that because Will was physical. With his stature, the way he was Will was skinny strong,
Yeah,
and at that time, you know, I was thick, but I wasn't developed. Will was more mature in his body. I
right,
was still growing into mine.
right.
So but yeah, we would get caught, man, and then we actually won the OAL that year. I think we had to beat Oakland High twice
Yeah,
that
that's the
year.
controversial year, man. That's the so that's really when I started paying attention because Coach Freddie Morris was coming up to my junior high teaching basketball
Yeah.
classes. So that's when, and then my dad would take me to the MAC games. So that's when I saw Marshawn Ferris, Duncan,
Mm-hmm.
and Ray Holt getting his money, and Ed Wally and
Yep.
all those guys.
Yeah.
And Oakland
Wally.
High won the regular season. So I'm
Yes.
thinking I'm gonna go to Oakland High. But
Yeah.
then you guys coming back, then you had to beat them twice, and you did.
Had to beat him
Um,
twice.
Yep, and that was crazy. But
Yep.
fast forward, one of the
Mm-hmm.
most vivid memories I have, why I always bring up E. Culberson, Cal State Hayward at the time against Bishop
Mm-hmm.
O'Dowd. You
Mm-hmm.
guys are battling. Reggie Jackson, he's getting his money for O'Dowd. And then E.
Yep.
Kolb catches the ball in the corner with the sweet
Mm-hmm.
lefty three.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talk about how
Yep.
that felt to knock off another Oakland school, be able to move on in the playoffs, and really represent in front of the home crowd.
Man, that here's why that win was so significant, at least for me, is because anytime you play a school in Oakland that is not in your league, especially like a team like O'Dowd,
Mm-hmm.
who I mean, let's just be honest, man. O'Dowd is Oakland, but
But,
you talking about like you
but,
get my drift, man. You got to pay
yeah,
that. I'm pretty
bro,
sure
I got you.
O'Dowd's a Catholic. It's a Catholic.
It's a Catholic school
I'm
by
not sure.
far, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just one of those. I'm not saying that they're bourgeoisie,
No,
but that's the way we looked at it. Like we
yeah.
looked at it like, and no disrespect, no disrespect to any O'Dowd player or their organization.
I
Anything.
got friends
I
that
respect
that went to
O'Dowd.
O'Dowd. I'll tell them the same thing to their face.
Yeah, B. Shaw's a good friend of mine. He's an O'Dowd alum,
Well,
and but is he O'Dowd?
yeah, Bichon went to O'Dowd. Yeah.
Went to O'Dowd. So, but like my thing is. They seem like a little bit like bourgeoisie to us. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like felt like we were looked down upon. Just some kids from the ghetto. Maybe we don't understand the game or whatever have you, but that was significant to win that game. And Eco came through, man,
Big shot.
and that was big for us because at that time I haven't won anything. I mean, individually, what can I say? Can I say? And I can say that we knocked off O'Dowd, and that meant a lot, man. That was a big win,
Yeah. You
huge
guys did a
win.
lot of winning over at Mac. You guys won a
Yeah,
lot of
we
games.
did. And you know what too? When you win like that, the losses really stand out because when you have a few
Right,
losses,
right.
then those I remember those like I still remember those to this day. How we lost, why we lost.
Yeah.
So
So now Levy graduates, hands you the
yes.
keys, and man, it was almost like you didn't even miss a beat.
That was. I'll be honest with you, man. I've never been one who I won't say that I'm a leader. Uh, I, at McClymonds, I think my talent I was just made me leader by default. Because when Will left, it was like I'm the only big dude down here because I know that when I played alongside Will. Will was gonna be there every night, so it
Right.
was like I can take a play off. Hey, Will got that. It was just you had that support back there.
Mm-hmm.
But when he left, I think Coach had to tell me, "Hey, man, Tuck, do your thing." And then once I got the confidence from Coach Mo, then the rest was history. But I remember after after games and practices, coach would have all these stack of letters and
Yeah,
like college
yeah,
like for
yeah.
Will. And then I was like, Coach, what is that? And then he said, Hey, get out of here, man. You ain't ready for this, right? So
You got Coach
coach would
Mo
go
voice down.
yeah. So coach, and that's the one thing about coach, man. He didn't have to say much, and then one day coach called me over. He was like, he was showing me these letters from all these colleges. I was like, dang, man, that'd be kind of cool to get one of those. And then coach actually said to me, he says, hey, young fella, your time will come,
Yeah.
And so then that's kind of synonymous to, me handing me the keys, like you said, is, he was basically telling me, well, those letters, those start coming right now when you start playing. This is your year. So,
And I
and
feel like
I took off
when
that
Levy
one.
left, your game expanded huge, big time. Like I remember you. I mean, at 6'8", in high
Mm-hmm.
school, back then
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about what 95, 96,
Not,
97, 98 ish.
yep.
Big,
Mm-hmm.
tall guys weren't going out to the 3-point line. It was like you're on the block,
No.
dump it down, drop step, dunk,
Mm-hmm.
up and under, dunk.
Yep.
But I remember
Yep.
you was hitting threes, and I mean like consistently. You was a
Yeah.
stretch four before that was even a term. Like where did that come from?
Yeah. You know what, man? It's funny because I tell you this, when we during the season when we were practicing in the gym or whatever have you, I never did I never took any threes. I never did. I never even worked on a game. I never did even work on 3-point shooting. It was just coach was just telling me, man, you got a soft touch. You know, don't limit your touch to just 15 feet. So then, and then I didn't catch on to that until later. I'm like, well, I know 15 feet is the free throw line. So if I'm flashing high to shoot that 15, so if I, anything else, a step for me, I'm at the 3-point line,
Right.
especially high school three.
Right.
So I just started shooting the ball. And then once you see one go in, it's like,
Yeah.
then you see another one go in, and then it becomes muscle memory. Then you
Right.
just kind of get your feel for it. But I know that the team needed me in the post, and shooting a three was just something that if we're up by a lot of points or whatever have
Yeah, it
you,
made you pretty
go
much
ahead and take
unguardable.
it.
It made you
Yeah, I
unguardable.
was trying to expand that way. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Who did you enjoy playing against in high school?
You know what? Individually, I enjoy playing against it. I always had, I would say the whole entire Tech team because Tech and Fremont because I knew the game was going to be intense. I'll be honest, there were some OEO teams where I didn't give them 100%, and that's disrespectful to the game. But I was young at the time.
Yeah.
But like Oakland Tech had a lot of guys that I like to go against because and then there was something there because I went to school there,
Right. Right.
and so I always wanted to make it a point to dominate against Oakland Tech. But as an individual player, we mentioned him earlier is Larry Gass.
Oh yeah.
You talk about somebody who's unguardable. That is Larry Gass.
Larry Guess.
Because his cerebral approach to the game was also there at that age. Larry wasn't really going to, blow you away with his
I was just
athleticism,
about to
but
say that. Yeah.
no, but he was just smart. I remember Larry. We played against Fremont at Fremont, and I remember he gave me a pump fake, and then I jumped. I'm jumping way up to I want to block this shot
Yeah.
and make a statement. And then and Larry uh, waited till I came down, and then he scored the bucket, obviously. But then the next play down, like he was playing. Just to make a long story short, Larry was playing chess out there, man,
Yeah.
while I was playing checkers.
Larry
And
reminds me of a skinnier version of Paul Pierce.
yes,
Like not
very,
super
very, very
explosive,
comparable.
but like they will explode on you,
Yeah.
but you're not blown, and then you kind of fall asleep guard, and then bam, that's who he
Yep.
reminds me of.
He had that kind of game, man, and then it was, and he was on our radar when we played them, but they had other weapons too. But Larry Guest, he was the motor of that team, man. People didn't
Absolutely.
understand. And Marcus Malone was
Sweetest
good too. He
jumper
was
I've
a
ever
scorer.
seen.
The boy can score the ball. Listen, man, Marcus Malone can score that ball like none other.
Yeah.
I mean, then they had Wainwright at one point. Bird Wainwright, you know, there's some controversy there when we didn't.
Yeah, we gotta
but
get him on. We gotta get him on. Let him hear his side of the story. I think what it
he
boiled down
played.
to was Fremont was just indestructible when he got there. I mean, I think they could have probably
They
just ran
were.
the table.
They were. He put together some pieces, man. That 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 they were great pieces, man. They could have went very, very far. Because we were. You look at our team, man. And I was like, man, who can beat us?
Right.
And then I was just looking like, who can? Me and Adro actually spoke about this, and Marcus Cole. And then because you got to understand, our group of guys. I mean, the guys on our team, there was the personalities were so distinct. You had Luke Mon, who was just
Yeah, we're gonna touch
Luke
on
Mon was just
that
yeah, he
human
was just
highlight
a
reel.
yeah, but if you know Luke Mon off the court, man, he just didn't care. He was like, man, we gonna be, Luke Mon, we could have beat the Bulls. Luke Mon just had that attitude, man. Period. So I knew his mentality was gonna be there, getting Luke to focus off of stuff outside of basketball was the issue, but he
Gotcha.
eventually found it out. Adrell had that attitude where no one can stay in front of him,
And it
which
couldn't.
was great. Mark,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can guard Adrell, you can guard anybody
Yeah,
off the dribble.
absolutely.
Period. And then Marcus Cole was, a guy who was an X factor. He can shoot the ball. He can do a lot of stuff too. So, but yeah, man. I mean, just to answer your question, man, who do I enjoy playing against? There's a lot of guys in the OAL, man. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody because every Ohio had Marshawn and those guys. He claimed he dunked on me and Will, but yeah, where's the video for that?
Right.
Yeah, I always give him
That's
that.
my big bro, though, man.
I'm gonna tell you
If he
something.
say it happened, it happened.
I'm gonna be complete. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I'm gonna let the cat. He did. He dunked on both of us.
There it is. There it
He
is.
dunked on both of us. I can't lie.
Was
He
it drop
did.
step?
He did. It was, yeah. It was. I'm pretty sure it was a drop step, but he absolutely 100% did dunk on both of us.
All right. So speaking of dunkers,
Hmm.
Luke Mon. I
Yes.
mean, just walking in the gym with him. I mean, I swear to God, like the whole Mac community would just come just to see Luke Mon dunk once or twice. But them dunks, see, that's what I always say about the OAL. You know how they say, "Oh, a dunk is just worth 2 points." No, not in OAL. That's a straight 10-0 run if you get a dunk in OAL.
Man, you know what, Luke? It's funny because the way I met Luke Mon is when I got to McClymonds, and I met him. Like I heard all the oohs and ahs on the outside court,
Yeah.
and it was him out there doing all these dunks, and I'm like, man. So then I went up there. It didn't look right for me because I'm way taller than Luke Mon.
Right.
So then, excuse me, I'm doing my dunks, and it's not looking like his. So then we got together one day, man, and then Luke Mon actually coached me how to do a windmill, and then
Jump hella
I
high.
promise you that. Yeah, so then I'm like, because I'm looking at him. If I want to learn how to dunk like this, let me watch him,
Right.
because Luke Mon wasn't very tall. People don't understand this, and I'm like, so then I started asking questions like, man, what do you do to get? How do you jump like squats? Luke Mon didn't touch no weights. He didn't have no jump soles. He was one of those guys. He was just a natural
Don't
leaper.
stretch. Just wake up out
Don't
of
no
bed.
no no
45 minute
don't
vert.
don't stretch, none of that. And then he actually was doing the windmill, keeping the ball in one hand and coming over the top with it. And I'm like, man, there's no way I can do that. Like, so I started windmilling off of 1 foot because I'm a better jumper off of 1 foot than two. And Luke Mon's a 2 foot jumper, period. So, and the thing with him, man, is I don't think Luke Mon knew. As crazy as this may seem, is you look at guys like Aaron Gordon and all these guys who are dunking the ball now in these dunk contests. I think Luke Mon, if he can be that creative, I just didn't think he didn't have the capacity to think to attempt to do something like that. But the guy was a phenomenal athlete. I played with many people, many guys throughout the world, many leapers, many jumpers, and Luke Mon is right up there, man. At that age, with no training, none of that.
If we could
Crazy.
somehow make this possible, this is what I would like to
Mm-hmm.
see: Hook Mitchell versus Luke Mon in a dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
That
Ooh.
would bring the whole at Defirmary.
You know
At
what? That's
Defirmary.
legendary. That would be legendary. And the Hook used to come to the practice. Hook came to our practice, and I think Hook had a lot of respect for Luke because I remember seeing Hook used to always give Luke Mon shoes, and
That's
then
what's up.
Hook actually came to practice with us one time, and and this is a true story, man. I had a fast. It was me on the fast break. I got the ball in the wing, and from the right wing, and then Hook was coming in on the left side, and Hook was timing to block my dunk, and when I went up to jump, Hook was already above
Mind you, he look
him.
like what,
So
5'10", 5'5"? Like he's not a tall guy.
no, but explosive,
Yeah.
explosive. When Hook went to jump to block my shot, he was so high that I laid the ball up underneath him because I couldn't even get off the ground that quick. And then Luke was that type of jumper too. Luke was he'll just pounce, and then before you know it, he's
Yeah.
dunking on you. Luke
Yeah.
Mon never did catch me in practice though.
No,
So
he called me. I remember, and I'm thinking because the shot goes up. I'm checking him, but I'm outside the key with my forearm on him, so I'm like, I'm good. Next thing,
yeah,
I'm like, oh Lord, get me about this
yep,
gym, please.
yep, yeah, yep. And he don't. And he prided himself on that. Luke was one of those guys like he wanted to catch a body every
Oh
game. He
man,
was
yeah.
like, "Who can
You
I
can
get
add you can
today?"
add
And
me to the
then,
list.
oh
uh,
man, hey, listen, it's a long list.
so you
It's a
dominate the
long.
OAL, and then like we got to set the stage. This is before YouTube. This is before Max Preps, all of that. What was your
Mhm.
recruiting like? Because from what I heard behind the scenes, you had some national interest, which coming out the OAL wasn't like it is today. So you had to be like extremely good for teams on the East Coast or
Oh,
the Midwest to come check you out.
you know, it's crazy because I had a box full of letters, and I can tell you right now, all the West Coast teams, USC, UCLA, Arizona. My brother went to ASU. He played football on the football scholarship there. So, and I got family there. They recruited me heavy. They knew that, and they recruited me extremely heavy.
Arizona State.
Uh, Arizona State,
Lolo would have loved
yes.
that. Lolo ran track at Arizona State. He loved
Oh,
himself.
he
He would
did.
he would have loved to hear you say that.
Yeah, my brother played football there. But Cal, so naturally, all the West Coast teams recruited me pretty heavily. The East Coast teams, Duke, Rutgers,
Wow.
North Carolina, I got recruited by those guys quite a bit. It's funny because USC, speaking going back to USC, they were actually send me a letter and they'll just say, "We want you." That's all it would say on the letter. And I'm like, I'll
Point
read it.
blank.
And
Period.
yeah, that's Henry Bibby, and he'll have the signature Henry Bibby, and then Fresno State recruited me really, really heavily. And to be honest, man, it was really hectic because the phone was ringing off the hook, and then it was really weird because a lot of notoriety was going to Ray Young, respect to
Yeah,
Ray Young,
yeah,
in
yeah,
St.
yeah.
Joe's, and he was getting recruited heavily too. We actually played on the same AAU team, and but man, there's not a school that I didn't get recruited by. New Mexico recruited me pretty heavily too. UTEP, you know, with Big Tone went, they recruited me too. But you know, kind of like what happened with Will with the SATs, man. I remember I remember taking the SAT and looking at that test.
Yeah,
I
I've been
was
there.
lost.
Yeah, I've been there.
I was lost, man. And you got questions about uh, Tommy going down the ski slope at this degree, and I'm like,
What the fuck is a
and I'm looking
ski
out my
slope?
window. Yeah, I'm looking out my window like, when is there a ski? So I could relate to the question. The test was extremely culturally biased, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, in
But
everyone's opinion.
in everyone, yes, exactly. So, needless to say, I didn't pass it. I took it like 3 times, and I didn't pass the test. So I had to go to prep school.
Okay. Oh yeah, I do
So
remember that now. I do remember that now.
yeah, but
So
I got recruited heavily.
yeah. So how did it come? How did you come to the conclusion that USF was the place to be?
You know what, man? I'll be honest, and this may seem, I don't think it's bad in a sense, but I was actually at a party in West Oakland, and when I didn't pass my SAT, all those schools kind of just said,
Right.
you know what, he didn't get his test scores in, so we gonna walk on Darrell Tucker and look elsewhere. And I respected that, and I understand the nature of the business. So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was me, Adriel and Marcus Cole at a party in West Oakland. It was actually at a Shavaki Jackson's house party.
Yeah,
She
we
played
trying
her
to get her
birthday.
on the show too.
Yeah, yeah, cool person. So anyway, we had a party, and I remember USF calling me on the phone. And they were like, and I kind of had them in the back of my mind anyway because they knew that I didn't get my scores. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to consider USF, and plus there's a lot of history there and whatever have you. So
Yeah,
my
no
phone
question.
rang and it was USF, so it was Bill Carr. I picked up the phone and mind you, man, I just want to get back to the party. So I'm like, I just want to have fun. I'm not really, because at this point I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I failed the test, all these phone calls, all the recruitment, all these letters. I'm like, man, I just want to take a break from this. So he called me and he goes, "Hey, Darrell, we'd like to have you over here at USF." And I think I just said, "Yeah, okay, I'll go to school there." And I hung up the phone or something like that. That's exactly how it happened. And then the next day, it was in the paper. It said
Oh, yeah, they ran with
all over
that. They
remember
ran
the
with
tribute,
that.
the Tribune, the Chronicle. It was Darrell Tucker verbally commits to the University of San Francisco. Now my phone was ringing off the hook, and I'm like, and I said, I think I did just verbally commit, and then my mom, everybody else was cool with that. So and I was kind of cool with it anyway because they stuck by me,
Right, right.
and they actually recommended that I go to prep school so I won't lose a year uh, eligibility by going to a JUCO. I'll come back as a freshman. So I went to New York, and they still stuck by me. When I passed my test scores in New York, all those schools came back and said, "Hey, we want you. We know you got your scores." Duke, uh, Wojciechowski, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
he was
yeah.
he recruited me heavy. All those guys on the East Coast, but I was loyal to USF, man. They stuck by me when I didn't have the scores, so that's I
I
ultimately just
mean,
went to school there.
it worked out. I mean, you had a Hall of Fame career there. Talk about your experience
Yeah,
playing there, close to home, and really like dominating. It was still the WCC back then, right?
it
Yeah.
was. It when I got to school there, it was a culture shock. Even though it was right across the bridge, crazy as it may seem, so close to home, but so far
So
away at the
far,
same
right,
time.
right.
Yeah, because when I got to school there, I remember we had a team meeting, and Coach Phil Matthews. It was different because you got to understand. I have a coach now who didn't grow up in Oakland or who's not very familiar with the talent in Oakland and whatnot. Because a head coach sends a recruiter out, so you do most of your talking to the recruiter. So,
Right.
but sometimes if a coach really wants you, the head coach will come in your living, which he did. But I didn't really establish a connection with him. Maybe because I was used to dealing with Coach Mo, who was like a father to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I got to rebuild a relationship with a guy. When I got there, I remember him saying to the whole team, he set us all down, and he says what he expects from each player. And then when he got to me, he said, "Darrell, if I could just get 8 points and 5 rebounds out of you,
What?
I'll be happy."
He didn't know what he
And
was
but
talking
you got to
to.
understand something. I'm still a humble cat. I always been humble. I never had a big head. To this day, I'm just humble. So I said, okay, all right. And then he went to the next player, and by default, I wound up leading the WCC in scoring as a freshman, the first freshman to ever do it.
Wow.
And the crazy part about it is, it never really was a goal. It was just me just playing the game, just let my talent take care of itself. And back to what you said about shooting threes, I knew I had to score in more ways, like really, really hone that skill at the collegiate level because in college you're just not going to be banging,
No,
banging, banging, and dunking on
no.
people. These guys are stronger, just faster. So, but it was a good experience at USF, man. I started to get acclimated to the basketball and to the college life. It took me about 6 months, I would say, to get acclimated, but it was good playing in front of my home crowd. My mom came to every game. My brother came to every game. If the Raiders wasn't playing, he was at our game.
Yeah, that's got to
He was a
feel
Raiders
good.
fan.
Who were some of the guys in college
Yeah.
that you still remember? Like, man, that was a battle.
You know what? Always is mostly it's funny because GU man Gonzaga University. Well, it's weird because everybody has their moment. Like when I got to the OEL, that was our moment. My moment, our moment. We were going to dominate the OEL, and then everybody has their stage. And when I got to San Francisco, it was very well going to be that way until we ran into GU.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
uh,
And they came
always a
out of
battle.
nowhere.
Yeah, that year that I was when I got there, they were taking off. Casey Calvary, those guys,
Santangelo was that around that time?
Matt Santangelo, Dan Dickow, Richie Fromm, and
Right. I remember all those
Ronnie
guys.
Turioff. You know, these guys were pros, and it's just crazy, man. So that was always a battle. Then you had Santa Clara. You know, it was good to battle those guys down there. And Pepperdine, Brandon Armstrong,
Brandon
who's a
Armstrong,
great friend of
right?
mine. Yeah, Brandon's was a great dude, great talent. So Pepperdine, GU, it was always battles with those teams.
What are they saying about you in the NBA around this time? You're dominating the WCC. You led the league in scoring as a freshman. 6'8", you can go inside, outside. What
Hmm.
are they saying? The scouts.
You know, it's funny because people it's I've never been one to blame anybody uh, for anything. If I'm going to blame somebody, I'll blame myself for my shortcomings. But what at that time they were saying, you know, nice touch, uh, you know, needs to be more aggressive, needs, you know, more fire and all that stuff. I had an NBA ready body already. Uh, and it's funny because Coach Matthews, my college coach, he was uh, how can I put this? A good coach. He was he was it was more of a dictatorship with him,
Yeah.
not a democracy.
Right.
And he I think there would be 12 scouts at the gym to watch me practice sometime or come to a game, you know. And I remember one time he kicked me out of practice
Oh, in front of the scouts.
in front of the scouts. And you gotta understand, I'm a player who don't talk back to the coach. I don't
Right.
coach say jump, I always say how high, you
Right.
know.
I've always heard
And I
good things
remember,
about you.
yeah. So I remember clear as day one particular practice where he kicked me out of practice, and then I remember the Vancouver Grizzly scout walked down off the bleachers, and as I'm walking towards the door, he whispered in my ear. He says, "Get out of here." And then I had to look at him like I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Find another program."
Mm,
And
wow.
then and I didn't. And I'm a loyal guy, so I'm not just gonna. And I remember when I was hurt, a little injury I had on my thumb, and I remember Chris Farr, or not Chris Farr. I was sitting on the side on the bench, and then he handed me the phone. He said, "I want you to talk to somebody." And it was Jerry Tarkanian on the phone. Totally illegal. It can come out now because Tarkin.
Yeah. What they
So
gonna do now?
nothing to hide now. So yeah, so Tark was on the, and it's weird because I'm on the phone with
It's kind
Jerry
of like the
Tarkanian.
least of Tarkanian scandals.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone with Tarkanian while my current coach is over there coaching
Now
and
he's at
going
Fresno,
to the
right?
play.
At this time,
He was at Fresno at the
Fresno. Okay.
time, and then Tark says, in his Tark voice, he says, "Darrell, come to Fresno. I'll stay another year and make sure you get drafted and all this and all that." And I said, "Okay, let me think about it." And we hung up the phone and whatnot. And I wanted to send at USF, but it would just I hate that term people use and says, "Well, NBA ready." no one is really NBA ready. You
Right.
got to get yourself. There's very few that are like
Right.
Zion and LeBron James were NBA ready.
Right.
You still got to hone your skills and get yourself ready for 82 games and playing against grown men. So, you know, I don't I don't blame anybody for anything. I wish that there were some things I wish I could have did different and work on. You know, maybe be a little bit more aggressive. But then I'm thinking to myself, I led the nation. I was third in the nation in double doubles.
Yeah.
So you know, me,
You
Drew
were
Gooden, and
killing.
Reggie Evans.
You were killing.
Yeah. So when they say, I think my demeanor is what ultimately hindered my success, if you will. You know, maybe I should have dunked the ball and scream a little bit more. I don't know. I would dunk on somebody and just run down the court,
Back,
man.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just a dunk.
Kind of
You
what
know,
you're supposed to
so
do. Yeah.
yeah.
Well.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you would haves and if I did this and if I did that, but
How long
you
did you
know,
play overseas?
I played overseas for 13 years as a
Wow,
pro.
that's a hell of a career.
Uh, yeah, you know, and I was one of those guys who was bouncing around. Whoever had the most money, and that's
Basically, yeah.
yeah. You got some guys that will stay with one team for 2 or 3 overseas contracts are not. A lot of guys don't sign multi-year contracts, and the thing with me was I just wanted to. At that point, it became about money, you know,
Yeah,
because
it's
I mean,
always. Yeah.
yeah, because but then it was kind of my downfall in a sense because Aaron Goodwin was my agent, you know, A
Shout out
Good,
AG.
you know, AG, good dude. And now here's a story that people don't know is Aaron will be one of those dudes. Every time you spoke to Aaron, he was on the phone. He was negotiating something. So.
Hold on. One
And I remember being at
second.
Club One. Yeah, so I'm at Club One working out. Chris Farr is my trainer, so I'm working out, and I'm like, "Hey, good," was call me over, and then, "Hey, what's up, Tuck?" He'll like dap me up while he's on the phone, and then he'll be like, and then he'll go off the phone for a minute. I'm like, "Hey, man, hey, what we got? Hey, good. I'm ready. I'm ready to rock. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go." He says, "Don't worry, something coming, something coming." And he'll leave. So it got to a point where moms, we were struggling, you know, like had to pay bills and all that kind of stuff. And then I've never been the guy to ask anybody for money. I
Right.
just want to make my own money. So I remember calling Aaron. I'm in East Oakland at the time off of 35th. And I said, Aaron, this time I'm like, look, I need some money, man. Can you get me a job? I don't care where it is. And then I remember this like it was yesterday. He says, where you at? I said, I'm at home. He says, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then when he told me that, I'm like, man, I heard this before.
Yeah.
I heard this like he ain't gonna show up. And then I remember hearing like this weird sound. He came to my house in a Ferrari. And so then I'm like, yeah,
That's
I'm broke. And
AG.
then yeah, he coming up at my house in the hood in a Ferrari, and I'm broke. Mom's is stressing out, you know, and you know she getting ready to go to Sunday school or something. And I remember he said, "How much do you need?" Like I'm outside of his car, and he has a check in his hand, but he on the phone again. He talking, and he goes, "How much do you need?" And I'm like, "Hey, good. I don't need no money, man. He goes, "How much you need?" And I can tell you what it's gonna take, you know,
No for an answer. Yeah.
no for an answer. So I just threw a number out there, man. I said, I know $500 just to get some groceries and pay some bills.
Right.
And then he looked at me and then he's still talking. He scribbling something on his check. And I think it was like $15,000 or something like
Man,
that. And I looked at
that's
this
love.
check. I'm like, I don't need this, man. I don't need this. So then he sped off before I could even give him the check back. So
That's
I went in the
love, man.
house. Yeah, that's love. And I just gave the check to my mama. And she looked at me like I said, pay everything you need to pay your bills. And
Stay with that
yeah,
guy.
A Good's a good dude, man. Great dude.
I've
Great
only
dude.
heard good stories about AG. I heard one story that was kind of like I see where you're coming from, but the person that told me
Yeah.
the story didn't work out in their favor. But I understand why
Yeah.
Aaron did it. But other than
Yeah.
that one story, bro, like I've never
Yeah.
heard a bad Aaron Gooden story. Aaron
Good
Goodwin story.
good dude. And you know, he could have been real and what I did in return of that was kind of wrong because after that I got a call like a week later I got a call from Bill Duffy. You know, Bill Duffy and Aaron Goodwin
The two
don't
Bay
get
Area
along.
Titans.
They don't they used to work together.
Yeah.
but they don't get along. And Duffy, he was like, "Hey,
Well,
Darrell,
Duffy
what's
picked up
up?"
Calvin Andrews in that.
You put them which Cal split
Now,
away
yeah,
from Duffy.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
the Asian
So,
game is
but
so,
oh,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
But Duffy called me, was like, "Come to my house in Walnut Creek. I got a job for you right now for $250,000 overseas." So you gotta understand, like I literally in my pocket, the money that I have in my pocket is the money A Good gave me.
Right,
So
right,
I'm like, 250 racks, like that's $250,000. I'm broke, well, I'm not broke, but
right. Tax free
that
overseas,
paid
right?
off.
The overseas game is
Yes,
tax free,
tax
right?
free.
Yeah.
Get paid once a month, tax free overseas in most cases. So I went out to Bill Duffy's house and I signed the contract after getting the money from A Good, and that was wrong on my behalf. I went overseas. The job didn't pan out to be that much money. I wound up leaving on my own, and I said I'm coming back home. And then I remember calling Aaron. I said, Aaron, man, I'm sorry I got that money that you. I'm sorry that I didn't even let you know that I just went with that contract. And here's what Aaron told me straight up. He says, "Hey, brother, hey, I got number love for you. I'm not worried about it." He says, "The Warriors are going to pick you up, and he says, I'm not worried about that money. I'm not worried about it." That's the kind of dude he was. He gave me some money, and I asked him pretty much without even letting him know, and went with his
Right.
competitor and went overseas, only to get back to apologize, and he was cool with it. That's
So,
the
so
kind
what
of
happened
dude
with the
they
Warriors?
do. Well, it's funny. I went to work out with the Warriors, man. It was me, Dante Jones from Duke,
Yeah.
and another friend of mine. His name is Enekwe, from Pennsylvania. And I went to that Warriors workout, man. I looked like Ronnie Coleman. I was bulked up, and like ain't nobody pushing me around. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit too heavy for
Too
that
heavy.
workout. I had a good workout, but they wasn't looking for nobody to be. At the time I was like 285, which is solid muscle, and it took away some of my mobility.
Oh
They were
yeah.
looking for like a stretch 3, stretch 4,
Yeah.
and so we had to reevaluate my body. And my nutritionist said, "Man, get down. You're going to be this." So Al Adams is a good friend of mine, the Warriors organization. He says, you're going to be in the NBA, and so I went to Miami Heat to work out with them. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. If Miami Heat would have offered me a contract that day that I worked out, I would have said no. Pat Riley and
Oh.
Spolstra. I mean, the stuff that we were doing on that basketball court it wasn't really a workout, man. It was just to break you down mentally, and that is the. I did some hard stuff in my life, but it would be equivalent to saying, "Hey, I need you to go up and back in 1 second." We were playing 1-on-1 full court. That was rough.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings and the Lakers workout were by far my best
The best ones.
workouts.
Okay.
And with the Lakers, man, that hurt me because that's my team. I'm a Laker fan, and I remember the general manager after the workout had a great
Was it
workout.
Cup check?
He bent down and Mitch Kupchak.
Okay.
Yeah, he bent down and whispered in my ear. He says, "Darrell, we've been following you all your whole career. We love you. You're a phenomenal player, but we got to go another direction." And as he's saying that, he's looking down at the other end of the court, and it's Luke Walton down there shooting like half court hook shots. And I'm like, so I kind of
Nepotism
understood.
at
He
its
said, "Yeah,
finest.
yeah." And he told me, "So you get my drift?" I said, "I totally get your drift." I actually cried on the way on the flight home because politics is
Bill. I
what I
mean,
lost the draft pick to.
freaking Walton.
Yeah, that kind of hurt me a little bit.
So what's the best country, or what's your most favorite country that you've played
Man, you know what? I'll have to say Israel. Israel, the Holy Land. Well, it's not really holy because
in?
them girls, and the way that nightlife and the way what they do in Tel
I
Aviv.
never would have guessed that.
Oh man, it's one of those places. It's like L.A., man. The weather's nice. People think of Israel as desert and camels. It's more green there than it is in Oakland. The food is great. The people are great. You can get caught up down there. I always tell people if you're an athlete and you're married, you know, I hope you got a good covenant between you and your wife because
My man said
I
covenant.
mean, yeah, covenant or whatever you want to call it, man. Israel's is a
It'll
phenomenal
test you.
place. Oh yes, it will. It most definitely. And I've been everywhere, man. Germany, Italy, Poland, Holland, France, Dubai, Lebanon, Ukraine, Russia. So I played some places, and I'm telling you right now, Israel's by far my favorite place to play. Not because of that, but just the weather and just the people in general are just
But mainly
phenomenal.
because of that.
Yeah, but maybe exactly,
Hey,
maybe a little bit.
before we wrap up, two things I want to talk about. One
Mm,
is we got to bring the pro am back somehow, man. Talk
mm-hmm.
about your time during the pro man. I remember like that's where you would go to see the pros. You get in for free. It's over at Kezar.
Yep,
Jason Kidd, all the
yep,
college guys. Darrell Tucker, Will Levy's coming back. Stace Bozeman.
yeah,
I mean, just
yep.
dogs, man. Talk about your experience with the pro am and like how excited it was to get that invite and play in that environment.
You know, man, when I first played in the pro am on my team, the pros that were on my team was Michael Oliver Candy. I don't know if you remember. This is when I
Yeah,
first
number one
played in the
pick. Yeah,
pro am. Yeah, and then Rex Chapman, who used to coach at
Rex
USF.
Chapman.
But the pro am was great. It was good. It was something that we did right when the season ended, and me being at San Francisco on the campus all summer long. I would just go down and play my games down there, which was great because I mean, and it was good in the sense that I established some good relationships and some networking. But like Sharif Abdur Rahim, I mean, if it wasn't
Oof.
for the pro am, like listen, all my high school clothes that I wore in high school
Came
came
from
from
Sharif.
Sharif.
Shout out
Yeah, man, I
Sharif.
couldn't have. Man, they thought I was selling rocks. And no, I said no, 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 no. I said no, no. Actually, and Big Tone, Boozy, Big Tone, uh, Boozy, one of Boozy's good friends, or Simmons, played
Oh
for
yeah, yeah,
Troy.
Tony Simmons. Yeah, yeah, another Mac alum. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Tone, Big
yeah.
Tone. So Tone actually hooked me up with Sharif too. So and then the pro am, so it all just kind of naturally came together. So I was wearing like designer jeans and stuff, and I had Jordans and then leather gator shoes and all kind of. If I wanted to get dressed up, and that all happened because of pro am stuff and Sharif kind of hooking everything up, and then play with quite a few pros in the pro am. Man, the pro am was great because it it it, it kind of, especially high school players that played. Like I played with Luke Walton. I mean, not Luke Walton, Luke Whitehead,
Ooh, my
and
man.
it kind of
Ooh,
gave.
yeah,
You remember, yeah. So it kind of
yeah.
gave us the idea of. I even played with Q that went to Tech. He was a
Quentin.
young buck at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah. He's
and
everywhere.
Ron Perkins. So it kind of gave you like that fantasy, like what would have happened if these guys teamed up in high school? Kenny
Right.
Walls, all those
Kenny and
guys.
Lenny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Kenny, yeah. So those guys played with them. Wesley Wilson, Vallejo, we all played in
yeah.
the pro am, man.
The pro
Uh,
am was
it was
rocking,
good.
man.
It
The
was
pro am was
rocking, and I
rocking.
remember, and a lot of people don't give. I remember people say, "Well, it was my most memorable game in the pro am." There's been times where I scored 45, but I remember one time I had to get my sleep. I was telling Coach Compton this at Merritt because I used to work out at Merritt College, and we had to play against Leon Poe, and
Yeah, the
that's my
Poe Show
matchup.
ticket.
So yeah, so Leon's my matchup, and then I remember, uh, you got two OAL guys
Yeah,
who did their thing in their era. I think Leon was average like 28
yeah.
and
I played against you both. I
whatever.
played against you I was young. I played against
Yeah.
Leon. I was older. He was younger, bro.
Yes.
Between you two,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably like the hardest matchups I've ever had.
I'm gonna tell you something about Leon, man. After actually playing against him, he was a man child.
Yes.
It was funny because in the post, Leon wasn't going to really blow anybody away
No.
with he was a workhorse.
Yeah.
Like he was. I look at Drew Gooden. Drew Gooden was skilled. Leon was
Energetic.
skilled,
Yeah.
but yeah, Leon was just a workhorse. Had a knack for the ball, big hands. And I remember playing against him in the pro-am, and it was a good matchup. He did have 5 fouls, and I'll be honest, I didn't guard him the majority of the game.
Okay.
So, I'll be honest, and I wasn't at that time. I wasn't. I was a good defender, but I wasn't a great defender. So they wanted to preserve me, and not because he was gonna get the ball every time.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to put that kind of pressure on me. Great kid, man. A lot of people compare me to him. I just think we got two different games.
Two different games. I would compare him closer to Levy in terms of just brute force,
Now,
physical.
yes,
I would say
yes,
you and Drew were closer in games.
exactly. If Leon and Will Levy matched up as both seniors,
That's a
I
boxing
think
match.
they'll fight.
Yeah,
It'll be
boxing match.
it'll be a fight because
Absolutely.
Will Levy is not backing down from nobody. And I know Leon's not doing that. And then Will, he gonna let you know. He gonna make sure he gonna screen you, hit you hard, elbow you. But man, yeah, it's funny because speaking of the pro-am, man, Will Levy, I had to play against Will. Now we're older because he played with the Believers and I was with the Dream Team. And I remember playing against Will in the pro-am. I'm like, this is a guy to this day even that I look up to, man, that taught me so much. And now I have to guard him and he has to guard me. And I remember getting the ball in the post in the pro-am. And I'm not going to bang with Will
No,
because you're going to lose that
definitely
battle.
not in an
Because
exhibition game.
no, because in the pro-am, I don't know if you noticed, Will put on all this weight.
Yeah, he
Muscle
bulked
and
up.
he bulked up. So, and I always been an athlete. I just had a lot of athleticism. So I got the ball in the post, and I was shooting turnaround jump shots, and I was making them because I wanted to have like 30-some points because I didn't want to bang a Will. So, yeah, that's
Crazy. So okay, now also, the lineage coming out of McClymonds is I don't really know a school that can really compete with that. But I also remember back then the Pete Newell Big Man Camp. Talk about that experience, and then Antonio Davis helping out a lot. I mean, Booz would always come in. Oh, Antonio gonna be at the school. You should come up there. I'm like, Booz, I'm 6'1". Like, I'm not going to the big man camp. But talk about that experience of having that tutelage.
You know what, man? Pete Newell, you had to get invited to Pete Newell Big Man Camp. And I think Pete Newell was in Hawaii. I think it was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I didn't even get invited to Pete Newell Big Man Camp.
Wow. Okay.
And so then, which is weird because it's like, man, I think if we had things like social media back then, Facebook and all that stuff and YouTube and all that, maybe I could have got. I think at the time, it's weird to say this, dude. Like, you speak of notoriety, but it's like, I still wasn't reaching the people that I should have been reaching. I guess so. I didn't get invited. But Tone, Coach, like, man, and Coach Mo, famous words, man, F that, man. Tone got a big man camp. You go to that one. So
yeah, I must have been getting that mixed up because I'm like, I've seen pictures of you working out with Tony, and I know you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just wasn't the Pete Newell, but Tone had his own.
It wasn't the Pete Newell.
Gotcha.
It was Tone. So Tone hooked it up, man. Tone was like, man, whatever you need, man. So Tone kind of, and that was a shock too because Coach Mo would bring people into practice to practice against me because I needed more competition. And then I remember one day he brought in a couple guys that was on the 26 or the undefeated MAC team with Darnell Stamps, which is a great team.
We got to get them on too because that was.
Oh, you gotta get these Stamps on, man. Listen, those guys, we try to model after those guys. So, but Coach would bring guys in, and then one time Tone walked in the gym. And I'm like, man, heck no, man. I ain't trying to go against him. So then he was just there to give us shoes and talk about, like, how you going to help the program and stuff like that. But the principal used to, Big Roland from Calcimont, Big Roland. I used to work out against Big Roland at Merritt. And I remember because they wanted to. What they wanted to do at McClymonds was the principal, and then wanted to see me push myself because there was nobody doing it, on the team per se. This is Will's gone already,
Right.
and so they me and Big Roland worked out, and then I was get with Big Roland, and there was another guy from Calcimont that came that I was kind of getting the best of, and then so coach said we needed to add some size. So Big Markel actually was a great talent.
Yeah.
He was just still learning his way,
Right. Right.
Big Markel Abrams,
Yeah.
and
Shout out
so
Markel.
yeah, man, yeah. Shout out to Markel, man, cool dude, man. I remember when he was me and him and Nate, Shady Nate,
Shady
because
Nate.
Nate
I
was on
haven't
the
heard
team.
that name in a while.
Yeah, Nate was on the team, man. Nate was on the team, and Nate and Markel were close. They were from Acorn,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
Adrell. He was Adrell, and Markel was a young Tuck because they would come in and watch
Right.
us from. They was going to Code, so they saw us. So kind of like me and Adrell saw Will
Yep. Yep.
and Rasan York, rest in peace, and Malcolm and those guys.
Yeah, Shady
So
Nate.
I
I
mean,
remember Nate, my senior year, we blowing Mac out by like 20-25. Nate get a dunk on a fast break. He throwing up. I don't know if he was from the bottom or wherever he's from. He throwing it up. I'm like, bro, we
and the
up
game is
dub.
over.
We
And the
up
game
dub,
is
bro.
over.
that was always that is. I'll never forget that, man. Nate was good. Me
I
and
wouldn't-
Markel's still in contact though. I still mess with Markel.
Yeah, man, I gotta holler at him, man. He needs to talk to me. It's funny, but going back to what you said about the pro-am, man, because you was talking about Marquine, about having Marquine on. I'm gonna tell you something about that brother, man, because that's where I met him. That's where I played against Marquine in the
Don't
pro
inflate
am.
Marquine's ego anymore, please. Please. He doesn't need to hear any more props.
But he can go.
Nah,
he can go. Paul
He can go.
Marigny. See, I knew P40 before he was P40, man. We didn't. Paul Marigny is a beast too, man. He's a gym rat. So with that kind of talent, man, and just how much time he spends in the gym, I knew Paul was just going to be doing great in Italy and all these other countries, man. And then, but all those guys, man, yeah. You right about Marquine. I need to
Tell the story. Nah, that's my guy, man. I actually talked to Marquine till late last night, just going back and forth on stories. So we're gonna get him on pretty soon here too.
Hey,
but go ahead, share your Marquine story.
Yeah, me and Marquine. It's funny because when I started, it became more than basketball with me and Marquine because we kind of lived close to each other. Actually, he lived right down the street, the same place where Aaron came and gave me those racks. Marquine housed this.
I know exactly.
He was right down the street, and I remember Marquine was like, "Man, come over here, play for this team, or get with my agent, and you can get this kind of money." And I remember like he tried to sell me a charger, and I was gonna buy it from Marquine, but like when he put his beat for his cars and stuff, I went to the same guy. So it became more than basketball. But on the court, when we first met up, I was just trying to bang him in the post and score that way. And then I'm like, okay, he come down the court. I'm like, what are you going? Because I don't know nothing about him at the time.
From the volleyball.
I'm like, what are you going to do? Oh, he going to just pull up right there? He supposed to be down here with me. So his game was he could do a lot of things with his game. He kind of played under control, cool, calm, collective. That's how I remember his game. But man, no, he's a good brother.
I'm gonna save my Marquine stories for when we get them on. But Marquine and I play AAU, and I grew up with Marquine, so I have a lot of stories in which
he's younger than me.
He dominated. Yeah. Marquine graduated 2000.
Yeah, he's a lot younger than me. Yeah, I just turned 40, so you figure.
Man. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. I've been around, man. So, yeah, he's a lot younger than I am. But nonetheless, a good brother, man. You got to get him on it. I want to hear what he has to say.
Oh, it'll be a 3-hour episode. Like, me and Marquine can go back and forth forever.
That's perfect.
So outside, perfect. Okay, so you can't name anybody from Mac. You go into the rec center, you got to bring your 5. Who are the 4 guys you bringing with you?
outside the MAC.
Yeah.
Oh man, see now you're gonna get people mad at me. Um,
Mind you, you trying to stay
just
on the court all day. Because you know if you lose, you ain't getting back on.
so the five outside the MAC. That's in OEL schools or
Yeah, we
is
can
it
go East Mac. We can open it up.
just do OEL schools at Point? Yeah, man, that's you know what? Outside of MAC at at point guard. Well, I'll go Larry Gass. You gotta go with Larry
That's a
Gass.
good one.
Ooh, that's tough. Let me see, Calciumon. Man, you killed me with that question. Yeah, that's a tough question because there's so many, man. And let me see, Tech. I mean, you got Mondo at Tech. You got Q at Tech. Those boys can
You
go.
really can't lose. You really can't go
No,
wrong. You can't go wrong.
you can't go wrong with either one of those guys.
Because if I had to pick my five outside of Oakland High,
Yeah,
like I can't pick any of my buddies or nothing like that,
yeah,
and then just narrowing it down to like the years, the 3 years that I played,
yeah.
point guard, I probably got to go. I'm probably gonna go point guard. Probably Lance Pitts.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Two guard. I mean P40 obviously.
yeah. You got CFC. Yep.
The three, and this is just right off the top of my head. The three probably got to go. Probably got to go Larry Guess.
You gotta go Larry. He wasn't three. He wasn't a point guard or a four.
Or
You
I
know
just
what I'm
go
saying?
wings, positionless basketball.
Yeah,
So Lance,
yeah,
P40, Larry Guess, Darrell Tucker, Leon Poe.
yeah. You can't. And
We'll never
yeah,
get
you
off
know
the
what,
court.
dude? You'll never get off the
We'll never
court.
get off the court.
You'll never get off the court.
And if I go with
But
Oakland High, I mean, I still got Allende, Ubaka.
got about him. See, that's the thing. How do you pick between
Exactly.
Allende
You
and
you splitting hairs,
no what?
man. You just splitting hairs.
Yeah, him and Q or Mondo. Like it's dude. That's a tough one. Then you got Dame.
Dang. And the
You
crazy
got
thing
Dame
is, so
Lillard.
if you look at Allende,
Mm-hmm.
Armando, Q, I bet you if you talk to those guys, I could be wrong, but I bet you if you talk to those guys, they all will reference back to A Drill. Oh, I used to watch A Drill. So they got their skills. They moves from A Drill.
Let me tell
Steezo.
you
I mean,
something.
Steezo is one of the
He's
most underrated point. Him and A Drill,
very
really
underrated.
most underrated point guards that don't get the credit. Their names don't get
It's not.
shout out when we talking. But dude, them
Yep.
dudes could get it.
I'm gonna tell you something. And we hung out. Listen, me, Steve, and A Drill, we were tight. Like
Yeah,
Steve, I got my face from Steezo. I needed a haircut. Steve cut my hair. A Drill needed something to eat. He was at my house because and then and the thing about A Drill is I play with many point guards, man. A whole bunch of them, dude. NBA, you name it. I play with these point guards. A Drill's gonna get that ball where you want it, how you want it. It's gonna be there. It just gonna be there. It's hard to. That's why this with that question you is hard because I only seen them from afar. I haven't played with them, but
right.
you try to see how you can fit in with that person if you play with them on the court. Like because I think that Allende or not Allende, yeah, Allende and maybe Q will clash. But like because their games are similar.
Very similar.
Like
Yeah.
like or like you can't do Will Levy and Leon Poe because they'll clash. How would they complement? That would be like
Right.
having two
Right. Right.
Shaqs or two David
Right.
Robinsons
Right.
on the
Right.
court.
Right.
So like that's a I'm gonna think about that because it's crazy. But yeah, but Steezo, yeah, man, he was a lefty too, so he automatically he was gonna get you with he
Yeah.
was and he was strong.
Yeah.
He was
It's
strong. He was a lefty. Didn't back
in the
down.
eras, different eras. because
Yes.
I feel like so when Adriel and Steve Morant were coming up, the point guards were
Mm-hmm.
facilitating. That was a facilitation era. Point guards weren't really
Yes.
asked to go and get buckets, so they might have been able to do that, but they just weren't asked to do that. So you never saw that really that side of their game. Whereas,
Yeah.
as basketball evolves, now point guards are going to get, 25, 30,
Mm-hmm.
35. You got the Dame Lillards and
Yeah.
Westbrooks now. So maybe people don't talk about Stezo and Adriel because they weren't getting buckets, but they were doing
Yeah.
100% what they were asked to do.
That's true. And in the OEO, at least when I was coming up in the OEO, it was more of a big man's league, like
Yeah.
you said.
Right.
Like when I was leaving, or it became more guard oriented, in my opinion. But you're right, because when you talk about OEO basketball, like you can argue Jason Kidd and Gary Payton, but even Gary Payton and Jay Kidd were facilitators
Right.
too. But like Bill Russell and all these big Paul Silas, all these big guys, and that's what even on the even over on the San Francisco side, it was all about the big guy.
Yeah.
But so Adriel can score when he wanted to,
Right.
and he can dunk. Yeah, Adriel
Adriel
can
can
actually.
dunk?
He was a short. He can dunk.
Oh, I didn't
He'll
know
get
that.
he'll off the bounce. He can
I didn't know
he'll
that.
get a dunk. In practice, he'll actually kind of practice that, and then we'll laugh at him and stuff like that. But yeah, man, you know, you're right, and I think Delonte, a great player too that we had on our team. Delonte, he was, and Marcus Cole was like, man, come on, we us guards want to get some love too, and they wanted to gravitate there.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys. I didn't really care. I just wanted us to win.
Right,
Like
right,
I wasn't really thinking about trying to get 40, 50 points. A few 40-point games, but Vallejo. We met our match at Vallejo and all that kind of stuff. They kind of, but
They
I
were
didn't.
stacked. They were stacked.
Oh man, and
They
they
were
were
stacked.
big.
I mean, the
their point guard
Vallejo
was
versus
running
St.
on.
Joe's game, that was a freaking D1 college game played at the
That's
high
what it
school level.
was.
Yeah, that was nuts.
You got Brandon was 6'4". He was 6'4", 6'5" point guard.
Yeah.
And then they had a true 7-footer in Wesley Wilson.
Yeah.
And then they had the Manny Hendricks, who was 6'6", 6'7", 3-man. So
CC.
they beat us with size, and the Jesuit. Well, we didn't. I don't know if we were intimidated, but we couldn't match their size at the time. But the Jesuit game, we were bigger than the Jesuit game, and they beat us. That one hurt. That's one of the hurtful losses in the tournament when we played.
Yeah.
Besides Vallejo. Losing to Vallejo in the tournament, losing to Jesuit I didn't know how, because it's like you got this team who's, they don't have no athleticism. They just ran the clock out, man, and they beat
That's
us.
what Levy said. Levy said one, he thought the lights got too bright for you guys, and he said this
Absolutely.
is pre-shot clock era. So he was like, once they got up, they just held the ball. And then I
Just
remember
held
my
the
dad was
ball.
at the game, and he came home. He said the refs definitely sided in that direction.
Oh, absolutely. And it was weird because it was like, man, we were 1,000 times more athletic. We should have won that game with our eyes closed. That's the only game where, like, if you're looking at it like just from a basketball point of view, like I don't understand how we lost that game. Like, you can say, yeah, they held the ball and all that, but like, even if they held the ball, we should have won that game. Like, we should just ran up there and took it from them. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like we were that athletic, and like I couldn't understand that. I think I wound up having like 6 points. I think Will Levy was the only one that scored in double figures.
Yeah, he sent me the
Double
box score. It was crazy. I think Doug was like 4 for 14. I don't want to misquote, but it was
Wow.
a bad shooting night. But what I will say too, because I've played on that court, the depth when you get on that bigger court and that depth perception, it does take an adjustment. And if you're not used to that, it could really throw your shot off. So I mean, I could probably attribute it to that. Playing in the Coliseum for some guys, while Mac can be an intimidating gym as well. The Coliseum
Yes.
is just a whole different beast, you know. So if you're not ready, you know, and it's
You're
one and
not
done.
ready.
If you're not, you know, it's that given night. It's not a series. It's not best of 7. It's that night, and shit
If we
happens.
if we would have played, yeah, if we would have played them the following night, would have been them by 40.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. But it's funny you say about intimidating gyms. And this is a story that maybe you didn't know about at Mac. Luke Mine got into it with JD, a guy that's from the bottoms, and it's funny because I was protected by the bottoms,
Yeah.
like it, like I was protected. Like it's
Yeah.
funny. I used to get $100 a dunk from these guys.
That's
Cool
real.
dudes,
That's real.
man. Cool dudes, man. I never had an issue outside of basketball around McClymonds or in the neighborhoods because they were coddling me to be, like their guy. Like hey, he ain't about that life. He ain't a
Right.
thug. He just. So it's funny because I remember Luke Mine getting into it with JD during school. Talk about intimidating gyms. It's funny you bring that up. And I remember Luke Mine was like, I think Luke Mine at one point was packing the pistol. But I said, man, Luke Mine, leave that. I said, leave that alone, man.
Yeah.
I was always that good angel on the shoulder.
Right.
So he did. So he got into it with JD, and then he told me about it. He says, man, I had to punch him and smack him up a little bit, man. He was talking all this trash. I was like, well, man, JD from the bottoms, and he said, man, I don't care about none of that. So that's how Luke was. Luke was
Yeah.
like, it's me against the world. I don't care who it is. I'm gonna
Right.
take him out. So we were playing against. Forgot what team we were playing against at Mac, and I remember like it was yesterday. Uh, I want to say it was the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes to go, and I remember looking at like about 30 dudes came into the gym, and gold teeth, smelling like marijuana
Yeah.
now in the gym, and they all said one section, and then I'm at the free throw line. No, I'm lining up to go in and get the rebound, and I kind of looked over at Marcus Cole, and I go, Cole, you see that? And Cole kind of looked back. This is during the game, and then Cole goes, yep, I see it. And I'm like, and so then I'm thinking they all from the bottoms,
Yeah.
because they're throwing up the L every time he
Right.
scores. So I'm like, something ain't right, man. Something ain't right. So we could mind you, man. There's kids. My mom was at the
Yeah. So
game,
I was probably at the game. Yeah.
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 So I'm like, something just don't feel right. And then I'm looking at Luke, and I'm like, Luke, man. And I'm trying to, let him
Right.
know what's going on. And Luke trying to get his next dunk. He ain't worried about none of that. So I remember, rest in peace, a good friend of mine, James Valerie Nunu. He walked alongside the baseline. He says, "Tuck, man, get your mom and them up out of here, man. We're about to cut the lights out." I'm like, lo and behold, man, they cut them lights out, and it's pitch dark, and all you see is gold teeth glaring, and then they're right to Luke, and they punching on him and stuff, and Luke fighting back. It's like
In the
30 to
middle of the
1.
game.
Oh yeah, the middle of the game. And the referee, all you hear is the whistles blowing, like beep 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 beep. The refs trying to get everything under control, but you can't see nothing. My
Right.
mom in the gym, I don't know where she at. I can't. It's dark, And then I think you got a little bit of like there was someone opened the door, so because they had guys holding the door so people couldn't get out,
Yeah.
and then there's a little bit of like a light, so you can kind of see a little bit. So I see Luke fighting all these dudes, and he getting hit. And he taking some and he giving some. And then Luke's brother come out of the stands to help his brother. He's getting hit, and they're throwing stuff. And then you hear screaming. And then finally, Coach Mo got a hold of Luke Mon, and we push us all like to the
In the
team
team
room.
room.
And
Yeah.
and so we all in the team room. And then Luke is like huffing and puffing, like he's gassed.
Yeah.
And then he gets back up to go back out there to fight. And then Coach had to go find him again and drag him back inside the room, man. So you talk about intimidating, man. There's some Mac stories.
It's funny because I've heard lights out, locked door stories, but I didn't know if they were myths or if it really
Nope.
happened because I had never been
It
at
happened.
one. But that's one story I heard one years before that
Yep.
with I think it's Jason Wright that went to Skyline. I think he told a story about
Yeah.
the same thing. And so
Yep.
hearing those stories when I would go to Mac, I said this on the episode with Levy, like I never felt safe going to Mac. And then our bus driver,
Yeah.
dumbass, one time dropped us off on the street and we had to walk through the gate all through the basketball. I'm like, come on, bro, we
Yeah,
need
man.
door-to-door pickup, drop-off. I remember
Yes.
Antonio Williams Parker, he was our star player in 2000. And you know how the gym is, and then the visiting team go in the little weight room, boys locker room thing, and
Yeah.
at half court. And so we lining
Yeah.
up right there to do our little pregame workout, whatever. And some dude from the West was like, "Hey, if you score 20 or we lose, y'all ain't getting up out of here." And you thinking, you like, okay, one, I'm from Oakland too, so I ain't about to be no punk.
Yeah.
But then you like,
He
how much
mean
is
what
this
he
win
say.
worth?
Man, he means what he say. I can tell you endless stories about that, about what we're. Because it's funny because me and Darrell and everybody, like the team council, be the first to know. Like, man, this is what we gonna do, Tuck. If they win the game, this and like, nah, man, don't be doing that, man. You sure? Like, nah, man, we good, man. We gonna, we gonna win the game. Y'all better win this game because if you know, that is all factual,
That's a hell
all
of a
facts.
home court advantage, and that's what I try to convey to people who didn't play in the OEL, where they're like, "Oh, our league, the ACCAL was tough, the EBAL." I'm like, dude, yeah,
No.
but all you had to focus on was the game. These courts in the
game.
OEL is little, probably not even regulation size courts.
Exactly.
The front row is like. First of all, you sitting on the bleachers, and then the crowd is
Yep.
like right behind you. You're not sitting on chairs
Right.
separated.
Nope.
It's like, dude
You right
is whispering
there.
in your ear while you sitting on the bench.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I'm like, nah, bro, this is a
Yep.
different level of intimidation.
And we knew that. And we knew that because we knew when we went to go play like Fremont, Oakland Tech, Castlemont, Oakland High, we knew that the environment was it. Well, in some cases, because I no disrespect to those schools, but like we felt like if we, playing at Mac, how could it get any worse than that? I mean, I seen. I mean, I was there when the lights went out, the doors was locked. I'm talking about serious conversations with guys, student body, saying what they were going to do if the team won. I'm like, no, man, don't do that. So like, I knew what was going on. So when I went to like Tech, it was like, I'm playing in Beverly Hills, or like when we went to to Castlemont, it was like, let's get this win and get up out of here. What's going to happen? So we knew that, man. We knew that playing at Mac is a different ball game for sure.
There's no other gym in the world like that.
No, not at all.
So, if one coach I never got to play for that I did as a youth, but not in high school, and I would talk so much shit when we played against me.
Who?
Coach Boozy. And with Booze,
Booze, man.
I used to talk so much shit to Booze when we played, but that's my guy. Like I said, him and my dad, they like Booze always at the house.
And Booze lived right down the street from me by the lake.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to walk to Boo's house to go to practice sometimes.
You ain't
Yeah.
youngster.
You ain't that. Oh, he call you a rookie.
Rookie,
yeah. You ain't nothing but a rookie. And I remember Boo's used to always play the old school music, and then you know about that rookie. And I'm like, man, Boo's. It was always
Booze can hoop though.
Oh yeah, you gotta remember he won a TOC Tournament of Champions, and Booze and Arthur York. Booze is a hell of a player. Booze used to practice with us, and I remember one time Booze used to always talk about my ball handling, and and I wasn't really a ball handler. I was a drill. When you see a drill handle the ball, you don't even want to dribble the ball.
Right.
So I remember in practice one time I hit Booze with an in and out, and then Booze fell, and so then a drill, like I think Coach Mo actually ended the practice.
And then, Booze, you ain't representing Booze.
Yeah, so then we all started calling me, "Hey, get up, rookie, get up!" Rookie. And it was me. I hit him with the in and out, and then one of those, and then Boo just slid out there, and then dude, that was so funny. But no,
Booze.
No, man, Booze is a cool. Listen, man, Booze is a cool brother, man. I'm telling you, Booze will give you the shirt off his back.
Hey,
So I
Booze
mean,
almost made me a McClymonds warrior. He came to the house. He gave his pitch.
should have
He
came.
gave his pitch. Man, no, I was
He
there.
should have came.
So yeah, no, I was there because I was gonna play football because Coach Carter wanted me to come too. And
Big Zoe, yeah.
yeah, man, and I was there. I went for passing league, and he had it set up with my
Okay.
dad to do the hardship.
Yeah,
Mom's wasn't having it. Mom's wasn't. She's like,
there's
"Ain't no
always
way you going to McClymonds. No way."
there's a lot of
I'm
people.
like McClymonds, Oakland High. What the hell is the difference?
You know what though, man? It's crazy because my Coach Mo had to really convince my mom to go to McClymonds too. She says your son to be taken care of in every which way, and so that's why like Coach Mo, man, is I can't even explain the importance to this day, man. Like I told you, I played with so many different coaches, so many different. He is by far the best coach that I ever played for. It has nothing to do with X's and O's.
Wow.
It has everything to do with how he prepared us or me off the court. And a lot of people can say that. Coach Mo was just a different kind of. And I was there for a lot of the stuff that happened to him. Like I felt like I wasn't there. Like when his wife passed, Coach called me, and that was a real emotional moment when his wife passed and all that. And then when I got inducted in the Hall of Fame, he had to be there, so he was there. You know, like Coach Mo is, and not just for me. You know, not just for me. You know, for Kellogg, a lot of other guys too. All these for Will Cherry, which is forgot about Will Cherry, man. Good brother, man. I love him. I love that guy. You know, so Coach Mo was very instrumental. You know, and Booze too, man. Booze was always hard on us, and they worked good together
Because
because
they're
you had
total
Coach Mo who
opposites.
would
They're total opposites.
total opposite. I remember coaches always say, "Come on, Booze, man, pat him on the ass every now and again." You know, but then Coach Mo can get fiery, and the thing is, he don't have to really speak to you. He was a man of very few words, and he'll call you he'll mf you in a heartbeat, call your mother in a New York minute, and yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
I've never seen Mo call timeout and just be I've never seen it. But Booze, I never seen Booze shut the hell up. So
Oh no, Booze will ride you the sun up, sun down. He'll call you in the middle of the night when the game over, wake you up and cut you out some more. I'm like,
I used to
but
love playing
Booze,
because I used to tell Booze, I bet you wish you got me, huh? Booze,
yep,
Booze, you can't guard me,
Booze is
Booze.
hard
You
on
got to get
guards.
somebody else out here.
Yeah, Booze is something else, man. Booze, but you guys had Ferris. Did you play for Ferris?
No, I played for Freddie Morris right after he came right after
Freddie. Yeah, I'm
Ferris.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Or Freddie Morris.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I played for Fred Morris. Yeah.
Cause didn't Fred wind up coaching at McClymonds?
I think,
No,
yeah, I think like maybe
no.
5 or 6 years ago, yeah, or maybe yeah, he did coach at McClymonds, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like somewhat
Yes.
recently.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's what I do remember. Yeah.
so,
But we there's you learn about these coaches when you play in the OEL. Man, Clint was another
oh,
character for
Clint,
Fremont.
every time you
Coach
get
Clint.
up on Fremont, the scoreboard goes out.
Yeah, Clint. You know what? Clint. Clint does some dirty stuff. I don't know. I gotta talk to what's his name? Who I wonder if he played for Clint. But Clint was a cool dude.
Clint was great.
Clint
Clint's
was
one of
cool.
the, I mean, what, 2 state championship appearances, 1 title?
Well, Frank Knight, they won it with Frank Knight. I think it was Eric Payton. Was that
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Eric
Frank
Payton?
Knight, Jared
They
Payton,
beat
Calvin
St.
Critter.
John.
They
Yeah, they
lost to
beat
Mater
Shea Cotton.
Day in
Oh, they
overtime.
did use him.
In '99 with Larry Guest, Josh Chavies, Lance Pitts, Jermaine Turner, they won in
They won
'99.
it.
In '99, they beat Mater Day. Yeah, so
So yeah, because in '99, that's right. Because we lost to Fremont in the OEL championship. Uh, was that my junior year? I believe it was. Yeah, we lost to them. We had to beat them twice. And Jules and Trevor Carson and all those guys. Shout out to
yeah,
those guys.
yeah, we got to get Jules on, man. He's doing good things, and then his son is
Jules.
balling in college right now. He's gonna be
Yeah,
at
his
USF. His
son's
son's
going
gonna
to
be at
do.
USF. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
got
His
to get
son's going to
Jules
be
on.
at USF. Jules, me and Jules played AU ball together too, and Jules, he's a character, funny dude, man, funny, funny, funny dude, but good player.
Yeah. So we came
Uh,
out with our top 25 list. I don't know if you saw it, but Jules was not happy that he didn't make it. He was not very happy with
he
it.
should be on that list.
That's what
I
everybody
think,
say. That was a deep list, man. I don't
but
know.
you got to think about it. Jules want he has something to show for his body of work, and
Oh,
let's be
absolutely.
honest, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Jules was a key guy on those teams,
Yeah.
man.
I just said
Good for
it was a top 25 list over the span of 8 years, so 96 to 2004. My whole thing
hmm
is, just because, and first of all, number one, it was just my opinion and Lolo's opinion. We did it together. It was our opinion, no facts.
I didn't see. I got to see it.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's on
see
our
it.
Instagram page, and then I'll text it to you after the interview. Um,
Yeah,
but my whole thing is like, just because you didn't make the list doesn't mean you was garbage. Like, it's
true,
25,
true.
25 people out of an 8 year span, and we did the
Yes,
whole East Bay, not just the OAL. So
yeah.
yeah, Jules, was he a hell of a baller? Hell yeah! Like nobody's taking
But you
that
know
away.
what?
I just thought there were other guys that were better, in my opinion.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you too, man. Jules actually went to St. Joe's,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, to your defense, and this is no disrespect to Jules. I think if you talk about like consistency, uh, Jules later on, uh, he kind of became a beast later on, in my opinion, man.
Right.
Like
Yeah, it's his opinion. Yeah,
unstoppable.
right.
I mean, I love that dude, man. That dude, we play AU ball again. We play AU ball together, so I know Jules not just from the outside. I actually teamed up with him quite a few times, and I think Jules really became good later
Yeah.
on in his career.
Yeah, and he
So,
was a ball. Like
but
Jules, when you hear this, bro,
yeah,
like we're giving you all the pride. Like you were a baller.
absolutely, I'm right there with you.
You were a baller. Just
Jason.
top 25 is like,
That's a lot.
and then on somebody else's
That's
list, maybe you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
yeah,
really depends on who makes the list because it's also two eras. Like, okay, we started
yes,
in '96. I mean, I was in the eighth
hmm
grade, so there were a lot of guys that maybe I didn't see, and I'm going off of just the
exactly.
hype. But then
Yeah,
there are guys that I played against that I didn't put on the top
yes,
25 list that other people had, and I'm like, nah, but I was on the court with them, and I didn't see
yeah,
it. Like they were more. I think there were a lot of guys that were
yeah.
more popular than they were actually good.
That's very very true too, man. You, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like I said before, man. Uh, I hope Jules don't get offended by
Nah,
that because
he's all right.
I mean that to me that's not an unfair assessment considering that when you talk about consistency, not saying that he's inconsistent. Like for example, who was a late bloomer? A whole bunch of them. Like, and I'm
Marquine
not
was a
saying
late
just
bloomer. Marquine was a late bloomer.
yeah, exactly. He was an extremely late bloomer, and then I think John Tar Coleman was kind of a late
Oh
bloomer
yeah,
too.
yeah. He wasn't happy either. He wasn't happy
Yeah,
either.
but see, that's the thing about he's a beast,
Yeah.
But like you look at guys who dominated a long time, they've been around uh, for a longer time, and I hope those guys don't take
No.
any disrespect to
Nah,
that,
and
man.
I'm
Because
definitely gonna have Jules on the show to let him speak his piece. And again, like I said, bro, Jules was like to even be in the conversation.
mm,
For us to
yeah,
even bring your name up speaks to how
yeah,
great you were. Like
he's a
there are
good
some guys
player.
where like, dude, shut up. Like, no, you weren't. But to
Yeah,
even be able to just, all right, let's converse about it. Let's hear your side and hear my side.
yes.
And bro, in the Bay Area during that time, like that's in
I
itself
tell
was
you,
props.
I'm gonna tell you something about Jules, man. Because Jules used to always point out to me and say, because there's a guy named Josh Shuchan who used to do
Yeah. Oh, shout out
ranking.
Joshua, man. He did a great job covering the OAL. Oh man,
Yeah,
I
so remember
love
Josh
Josh.
used to do that. Yeah, and Robert they used to always do these rankings,
Bronsky,
and
yeah,
Jules was in tune with that,
yeah.
and I think that's a good thing to be in tune with that, man. But yeah, he can't take that because I'm not on everybody's list now, and I'm okay with that too, man. It's you know, I really am. I just know that when I did play, uh, I played with passion for the game, and everybody has an opinion. Like some people say, man, hey, that I created, what you call it, I reunited or I resurrected the big man at McClymonds, and I don't believe I did. I really don't believe it. I mean, I can humbly say that I don't believe I did it. I got to give that credit to guys like Darnell Stamps and Will Levy. I honestly, someone says who's a better player out of me and Will, and the honest answer is we are two different players. I was all athleticism, man. Will was had more of a cerebral approach to the game than I did. Uh, I think as just like a true big man, that just like you're a center and you control that paint and you do all the dirty work in that paint. Will by far is a better player than I am. So I didn't. To me, I don't feel like I resurrected anything about the big man at McClymonds. If anything, I just kind of reinvented what a big guy does by shooting the ball. I did not. I get that credit to like you say, Darnell Stamps, Will Levy, all those big guys. They brought that big man back from the Bill Russell days. Bill Russell was a mascot at McClymonds. He wasn't even.
Yeah, that's just so freaking hard to believe, man. Now they
He's a
say he wasn't
mascot.
even good in high school. I'm like, man,
Was
I
wasn't
needed
good at
that.
high
I
school.
needed that growth spurt and skill spurt. I needed
You
that,
know,
man.
yeah. People when people compare things, okay, I get compared to him at USF. Just someone said, "Why do you wear number 3?" And does number 3 and number 6 have any? Is there a correlation between Bill Russell's number and your number? And then I'll make stuff up and say, well, because I'm number 3, because I'm half the player he was. I'm
I
not even
love
half
that.
the
I love
player.
that.
But like Bill Russell once said, well, how do you match up with his rebounds? And I'm going, well, for my career, I got like 900 some rebounds or somewhere off in there. I said Bill Russell has, I want to believe, like that many in one season. So it's like I can't measure up to maybe scoring. I passed him in scoring, but as a rebounder and a defender, like I just when people make comparisons, I don't like the fact when people get hurt about something because, like you said, everybody's list is different. Mine's going to be different because I it's natural to favorite guys you played against because you know them.
Right.
It's just natural, like it's just super duper natural. So you know,
Well, give us some parting words, man. What do you want the people to, anything you want the people to know about you, or anything you want to just say to the listeners? And like I said, man, you are highly requested, so I know that people are interested in hearing from you. Give them some parting words.
man. Parting words. Uh, Especially in the day and age that we live in, being a black man, I kind of want to touch on some of the things that are going on right now in our world today. Is just trying to find the positive things, I guess. In life, especially if you're a father and things of that nature, just try to find that silver lining because you can find negative. It's all around us. There's a lot of it going around right now. So as far as the hoopers go, uh, from me to those guys who were requesting me, man, I appreciate the love. Everybody knows that. Like I've been one of those guys who I'm not bigger than the person next to me, and I never will be. I just happen to be good at something, and then God kind of illuminated my footsteps to pursue that path. So I just want to say to the guys who are watching and listening, man, that I love you all, especially those that I rubbed elbows with and played against, and those that I didn't rub elbows uh, or played against. And if you are playing basketball, man, create your own legacy, and then hopefully that we'll hear from you one day. So I want to appreciate you guys for giving guys like old guys now, 40 uh, a platform to, to reach people, especially in Oakland, man. Oakland is a mecca. People don't understand that, and I'm saying it's a mecca because I've been to everywhere else. I went to prep school and played in New York. You know, in New York, it has a bunch of ball players. I played in
Absolutely.
Chicago. I played in all these countries and all these places where I'm gonna tell you something about Oakland, man. Oakland is, and I'm not speaking from a biased point of view because I'm from Oakland, but I'm trying to eliminate that bias from my mind. And we got something special in this town that's really getting overlooked. And we just keep it alive for old guys like me, and then for the generation behind you, man. So that's all I got to say to you guys. I love you.
Man, we appreciate that. Well, thank you guys. Man, we brought it to you. You asked for it. We delivered. Man, definitely follow D Tuck on Instagram, Facebook. Let him know how much he's loved and admired in the city. For the Rec Center podcast, I'm Kenny Edwards. We out of here.